Thank you very much, PS. Excellency Ambassador, Ambassador Growth, our CEO, the Africa Climate Summit, Principal Secretaries, Engineer Ngeno and PS Mugambi, PS Ali, who is our Special Envoy on Climate and Special Presidential Advisor on Climate Change, USAID, Head of Mission, our honorable members of Parliament and very close partners. We are very happy to see you here. The Office of the First Lady, represented by Mr. Chumo, all our partners here, other ministries represented here. I see Masila here, representing the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, all our partners, our young people. When PS was saying to have young people stand up, me and the ambassador almost stood up. We are struggling to stay there. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm extremely thrilled on this day because it marks a huge milestone in our journey and our run-up to the Climate Summit. And this is a very well supported, coordinated effort, like you can see by the representation of everybody seated here. You all know the journey that we have taken and still have ahead of us. And this launch of the website is really a very huge milestone. Allow me to say that the reason I got a bit late, but I'm happy, I'm told, Ambassador, you took a lot of photos while I was away, is that I just came from a cabinet meeting, which took too long, but we should be happy to know that we have just processed our climate change amendment bill, which will be cleared tomorrow. It will be cleared tomorrow for Parliament. So you have your work all cut out, our honorable members, and they've been very supportive. And that's one of the showcases that we hope to do during the Climate Summit. So, honorable ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are here for the first time, this is the venue from where we are delivering the Africa Climate Summit. And we continue to thank our partners, particularly the Danish government, for the support that they gave us to make this secretariat possible. We hope to continue working from here, and I want to assure Joseph and the team, the reason you have not seen me here for a long time is because everything is going as planned and as hoped. So you're doing an incredibly good job of putting things together. So as I say, I hope we will continue to work from here for a couple of months, even after the summit, to follow through some of the summit outcomes as we work towards COP28 and all the other processes that we are hoping that the summit outcomes will feed into. We are here to launch the website of the Africa Climate Summit. And I know we should have done this many months ago. And the delay was largely occasioned by the very rigorous process of consultation and putting together the narrative that is holding together the summit and putting together the content, which again needed to be approved through the African Union organs, because as has been said, and I will not repeat about the specifics of the summit because the CEO has ably presented that. And therefore, to this extent, we just a few days ago, with the leadership of His Excellency President Ruto, we held a meeting of the Committee of African Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, that is CAHOSC, which the hybrid meeting was attended by several African heads of state and their representatives. And this then paved the way for us to have much of the content that is going to go into the summit. And the report from the meeting of CAHOSC that we held a few days ago, again, was approved yesterday, which is another very huge milestone at the media summit of the AU, which happened yesterday at the UN headquarters here in Nairobi. The development of this website, as well as support of the Africa Climate Summit communications, has been made possible with the generous support from the German government through GIZ, for which we are extremely, extremely grateful. Your Excellency, you will pass our message of gratitude to His Excellency, the Chancellor, and the government of Germany for this support. And I would like to continue to appeal to any partners and governments present here to find an aspect of the summit to support, which still, the summit budget, we still have a deficit. But at this juncture, just to, in addition to the German government, the Danish government, we have USAID having really supported us, IOM, the Global Energy Alliance for People and Planet, apart from donating the CEO to us, which is a huge, huge support, and we are not paying a coin towards that. We really appreciate all the other support, the Rockefeller Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, the Swedish government, the WRI, CIF, and I hope I have not left out any of those that have already come through for us. We are very grateful, and we continue to ask for partners to come in to support whichever aspect of the summit that you would be comfortable with the guidance of the Secretariat. Whereas, as we have said, Kenya is holding this summit together with the African Union. The summit and its topics have been presented here is a global problem because the entire globe is impacted by the devastating effects of climate change. And therefore, this calls for all of us to join hands to make this happen. The summit is going to be momentous. It is the first time in the history of climate change that a continent, and Africa for that matter, is coming together to discuss climate change. As a country, we are proud that our chairing of the Committee of Heads of Government and Heads of State and Government on Climate Change, through His Excellency, the President, will be delivering a summit of this kind. And it is, as the climate envoy has said, a feather on the President's cap. And really, he is the leader that has really put in a lot of energy that we are seeing in the discussions around the climate action around Africa as well as the globe over. It is for the first time that Africa is looking at climate change and the development nexus, as has been expounded here. And Africa will be looking at the debt geometric progression and its effects on climate change interventions, including adaptation and mitigation. Africa will be bringing to the world its immense resources that include the vast untapped arable agricultural land, its critical minerals, its renewable energy potential, as well as the carbon sinks. And the summit will, in many aspects, be a trade and investment summit on climate action. And it is not a summit of blame games anymore. I think we want to make that very clear. It is not a North versus South. It is not a summit of who emits more than the other, because we either salvage ourselves together or we perish together in this. So there is no more space for finger pointing. And Africa has stepped up to take its place, to identify its strong points in terms of the solutions, and with the ideas and the resources that we are projecting, when met by the capital that is required, as well as the technology, then we meet in the middle with the West, the North, and we push this through together. And this is what the summit presents to the world. The summit will make a Nairobi Africa Leaders Declaration, as has been stated, that proposes a new global financial architecture for climate change. The declaration will make a proposal on reforms on the multilateral development banks with regard to how they deal with Africa's debt. Decisions on Africa's resources that would promote green growth and a low carbon development pathway will be pronounced, as well as a unified Africa position to COP28. And as the global nature of the summit as it is, as we make the Africa Declaration, we are looking forward to be joined by our strategic partners from the globe over to amplify that African voice of which is going to offer a complementary proposals that will not only work towards decarbonizing Africa, but indeed decarbonizing the whole globe. Given the number of participants that have so far registered on the website, I'm told even before the official launch, we have a total of 3,712 delegates already registered. And it shows you how many delegates and participants this summit will attract. And it is a good thing, because that is what it is intended for the whole world to come to Nairobi and create practical and actionable pathways towards climate action. Somebody was telling me this afternoon that we have over-marketed the summit. And I think that is the intention. And we want to ask all of us to continue marketing and have as many people come together as varied as can be. Like the Honorable Member of Parliament said, yes, there'll be space for parliaments, right from the Pan-African Parliament, the East African Legislative Assembly, and most importantly, our own National Assembly here and regional assemblies, because Parliament has its space. You've just heard that one of the major showcase that we want to do is the legislative progress that we have made to actualize our international obligations around climate action, as well as the investment opportunities that we have to push forward in the realization of our green growth. The youth have their space, and we are looking forward to the pre-summit engagements like we have been having. Our development partners, and particularly our ambassadors, who have really helped us rally support around the summit. The various caucuses and events that you have been mobilizing and coordinating for us are very, very critical. Our private sector, the space is well cut out for you. It's an investment, a green growth investment summit. So we have a space for everybody, our philanthropists, our various ministries, departments and agencies of government of Kenya, Africa and beyond. There is space for everybody to be able to contribute to this. And therefore, again, I would like to encourage all of us here to invite delegates from your countries, send out word that the formal and official registration process for the summit has started today. As I will shortly do, I'm told I might be the first delegate to do an official registration. Then probably Your Excellency, Ambassador, you will be next, followed by the rest of us. So we are really opening this up for everybody to register to come to Nairobi in September. The website will be our first line of communication. It will have a registration icon, the concept note, the program, the various thematic areas, and all the news and information by the hour as it would apply to the summit. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to thank you once again for coming to witness the launch of the formal accreditation and registration process. And I can only say that the Africa Climate Summit is now real more than ever before. And I look forward to an exciting several weeks as we plan and execute this together. Let us all join in one accord to deliver the Africa Climate Summit for the people and the planet, for this generation and those to come. Asanteni sana.